Hey, what's up you guys? Dylan Distorted, this time with 2,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support, it means the world. You guys are kind of making me a pro at this. Wink wink. And now you really are being deported. Teal dear, revenge is great. 2 disclaimers. 1, I was relatively young / naive, and 2, I was in love. Protagonists are me, obviously, and CB, aka the arsehole, with guest appearances from NM1 and NM2, Nice Man 1 and 2. If this goes the way I think it is, I think you mean CB is the antagonist, because he would be the evil guy in the story. He'd be the supervillain. Never mind me, I didn't read the whole thing yet, so. This all occurred pre-mobile phone and web, and happened 2 weeks prior to traveling to the UK from Australia for the first time with my live-in British boyfriend of 18 months, with a view to living there for the next year or 2. I met CB when he came backpacking to Australia. After dating for a few months, we moved in together. CB was on a 12-month working holiday visa in Australia, but got a 12-month extension on a trip to New Zealand, allowing him to remain in Australia for up to 2 years. Remember this, important point. I just put down the deposit on my flight, he already had a ticket, and we'd given notice at our apartment, quit our jobs, arranged with his parents to collect us at Heathrow, etc., etc. Then on Friday night, CB simply doesn't come home from work. I assume boozy send-off, sleeping at a workmate's place, home in the morning, no problem. But then CB doesn't come home Saturday, and I start to panic thinking he's dead or some similar horror scenario. I call his workmates, but they know nothing. I finally find his boss on Sunday and am told that CB has been staying there and is in real estate and will call later. What the fuck? CB finally calls later that night, still at his boss's house, and tells me the following tale. On Friday night, he was interviewed by immigration, who informed him that, as he had breached the condition of his visa by working in one job for more than 3 months, he needed to go back to the UK. He didn't love me anymore and was instead going to Queensland for a 2-week holiday before going back to the UK alone. He would come home tomorrow to collect his bags. What the fuck? I'm crying, I'm asking why, I'm begging for an explanation, I'm crying some more. By the way, if at this point you are thinking that I'm unbelievably stupid, I refer you to my earlier disclaimers. So after crying for a few hours, I rang my girlfriends for sympathy and support, and more crying, and then I crawled into bed. At work the next day, one of these girlfriends rings me and says that she is calling bullshit on CB's story, and that I need to ring this number and speak to NM1, who is an actual immigration official. NM1 tells me incredibly kindly and patiently that the story is indeed 7 kinds of bullshit, and that if someone has breached their visa and come to the intention of immigration, they would be scooped up immediately and not given the free pass for a 2-week send-off tour to sunny Queensland. He also informed me that while no one from the department had interviewed CB, and there was no current file on him, upon checking his visa status, CB was in fact in Australia illegally, as he had not submitted a request for his visa extension when he traveled to New Zealand the year before. It turns out that being automatically eligible for a 12-month extension did not mean automatically receiving the extension. Oh my fucking god. I may be naive, but damn, I can think quick when I'm angry. I told NM1 that if he wanted to apprehend CB, he could come do so at our apartment that night, after CB came to collect his bags and give me some money he owed me. Suffice it to say, it all went like clockwork. CB handed over cash, dragged the shit out of the house in a couple of garbage bags, somehow a suitcase couldn't be located, oops, and was grabbed by NM1 and NM2 and sundry police as he walked down our drive to the street. 3 weeks or later, NM2 rang to let me know that after spending 3 weeks in immigration detention, CB had been deported to the UK as an unlawful non-citizen. Score! CB also had to pay for the cost of his own removal, which strikes me as just the icing on the cake. My friend contacted the super fabulous travel agent and told her the story, and I got my whole airfare deposit back. I found a new apartment and got another job and never had to speak to or look at him again. Angry is way better than sad. Out of sight really is out of mind. Man, he really fucked up. I mean, why would you tell someone that you're going to spend 2 weeks in Queensland before you get deported back to the UK? Like, I would see that's bullshit, and I am pretty fucking stupid. Like, goddamn, man. Think before you act a fool. A paper girl's revenge story. Or how I destroyed a window. Obligatory first post warning. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. Did I just date myself there? So way back in the deep dark days of the 70s, I had a paper route. This was when it was cool to exploit child labor and convince said kids that it was cool to be exploited. I was about 10 and had a grand total of about 25 customers I delivered papers to, 6 days a week. Wednesday was brutal, flyer day. Them suckers must have weighed 10 pounds each, but I digress. Most of my customers paid their bill promptly every Friday. It was a mere 75 cents a week for 6 days worth of papers, so I usually got paid $1. Keep the change, woohoo! Big money for a 10-year-old back then. All except one customer, the Darth to my Luke, the Voldemort to my Harry. They were evil. The first week I tried to collect from them, they had an excuse. Fine, I shall return tomorrow. Nope. Next week? Okay, nope. This went on for weeks. Now, it may not seem like much, but when you are 10 years old and every Monday, the big bad paper boss comes to review your little book of customers and sees that they still haven't paid and then takes the 75 cents they owe out of your small hoard of cash, it starts to burn. So fast forward, and it's been about 6 weeks, and now they weren't just not paying me, they were ignoring me altogether. I was pissed. Now you have to picture it. When I was 10, I was a short little kid with a moon face, big green eyes, and pigtails with ribbons. I was the quintessential cute little girl down the road. Nobody expected the level of rage I held in my corduroy-covered heart. Week 6, Friday afternoon, time to collect my dollars from the customers. I put on my oversized canvas bag, gathered my little book of customers and my money sack, and sallied forth with an uncharacteristically determined look on my snub-nosed face. Everyone paid. Everyone tipped. All was sunny and perfect in my world until I reached their house. I rang the bell. Silence. I knocked. Nothing. I pounded on the door. Not a peep. With each bang on my tiny fist, my fury grew. They were not going to cheat me out of 75 cents again. I looked around for a way to exact my revenge, and my eyes fell on the window next to their front door. There it stood, in all its shining glory, 6 feet tall, built into the wall, beveled glass covered by a dainty lace curtain. I drew my tiny boot, covered foot black as far as I could, and let fly, right into the window. The crash was glorious. The sounds of shattering glass echoed along the silent street, and as I stood there admiring my handiwork, footywork? I felt a keen sense of 10-year-old justice. Then I got the hell out of Dodge. To add to my quickly devised revenge plan, I called my big bad paper boss and got permission to stop delivering their paper until they paid, which involved them getting a sternly worded form letter from the company, informing them that unless they coughed up the money owed to the pipsqueak with the bows, they would have to buy their paper at the corner store like all the other non-paying mooks. A few days later, the lady of the house confronted me as I was making my rounds and demanded to know if I had broken their window. I looked her full in the face, blinked my big green eyes, and said innocently, "No, ma'am. Did it get broken? Wow. By the way, did you get a letter from the paper company about your bill?" I still remember the look of hopeless, defeated fury on her face as I skipped merrily on my way, humming to myself as I went. Ah, memories. Bitch, I get it's the 70s, but you can't cough up $1? Well, looks like you're gonna have to spend more than that to get your window fixed. Come on, really? Like 75 cents? It's almost $1? $1? You can't afford that shit? Looks like you're gonna be going over with the other mooks. Get out of my face. Okay guys, hope you enjoyed this episode of r/ProRevenge. I certainly enjoyed making it. I had to go through a couple stories because the stories I kept choosing kept getting removed before I could make this video. I'd like to thank everyone for the 2,000 subscribers once again. Let's push it to 3,000. Let's see if we can make it there in a day. No, I'm just kidding. But if we can get there, that'd be great. I don't care if it takes a week, a month, a year. As long as this channel's growing, I will be happy. If you want to submit your own stories, DylanDistortedSubmissions@gmail.com. And if you want to financially support me so I can eventually quit driving school bus for a living, you can donate to me at patreon.com/DylanDistorted. Like the video if you like the video. Don't forget to subscribe, and peace out, gamers.
No homo, right?
All of the homo!